I'm Gina Walkington. I'm a community organizer, a mom, and I am running for representative of Wisconsin's 61st Assembly District. This is Maddie. Maddie was 19 years old and a college freshman who couldn't wait to become a nurse. She was a free spirit who would fight fearlessly for what she believed in and was always on the side of the underdog. Maddie loved fiercely and in return was fiercely loved by her friends, her family, and her community. After finishing her first semester at Illinois State, Maddie came home for winter break. She was excited to spend the holidays with family and reconnect with her friends, and so she hosted a New Year's Eve party at her family's home. In the early hours of January 1st, 2018, Maddie's life was taken by an unthinkable act of gun violence. Maddie was my cousin's daughter. I grew up in rural Iowa in a family of avid hunters. There is not a single Thanksgiving I can remember where my dad and my brothers didn't put hunting before turkey and football. I'm not a stranger to guns or the debate on what to do about gun violence. My experiences have taught me that in most situations and on most topics, there's more that unites us than divides us, and gun violence is no different. Whether you're a gun owner or not, no parent wants their curious child to get their hands on a firearm or to experience the tragedy of a school shooting. Whether you're a gun owner or not, no one wants their daughter, sister, friend, or mother's life to be taken at the hands of an abuser who has access to firearms. And no one wants their loved one to take their own life in the split second it takes to pull a trigger. The majority of Americans and the majority of gun owners themselves are in support of sensible measures that would keep us all a bit safer. Yet we see time and time again that our elected officials opt to do nothing. So what can we do? We should ask our current representatives where they stand on this issue in particular, and support those candidates that would and are willing to take action. We can also remember that we don't have to wait for something to become a law in order to make it a reality. We can tune out extremists that are in the minority but are given the loudest voice, and decide that fear-based talking points will not drown out our own common sense and values. We can start at home by making sure our own firearms are secured properly. We can ask our family members and the parents of our kids' friends if they have firearms, and if so, how they secure them. Many people have just never thought about it, and after all, isn't starting a conversation with a neighbor what Wisconsinites do best? I don't know if there are reforms that could have prevented a 17-year-old boy from leaving a party and returning shortly after to settle a dispute with a gun. I don't know if better legislation could have saved Maddie's life. What I do know is that there is never just one victim of gun violence. When a life is taken, parents and grandparents, siblings and cousins, friends and coworkers, and entire communities become victims too. Countless lives are changed with the pull of a trigger. Gun violence can and does affect us all. At the end of the day, gun violence isn't a partisan issue. It isn't an issue of rich versus poor or urban versus rural. It's an everyone, everywhere issue, and it seems to make sense that it's going to take an everyone, everywhere effort. And for the skeptics that would like to see change but are doubtful that these small things can accomplish anything meaningful, I would only ask, what is there to lose? At worst, you're right, and nothing changes. But at best we save lives, and maybe the next tragedy, one like all of us here are far too familiar with, never happens. I want to leave you today with something that Maddie wrote in one of her last journal entries. Don't forget how to love. Love is one of the most complex yet simple things in the universe. True love is hard to come by. Don't throw it out. Work for it. And in the end, love is the only thing that will lift your spirit and carry your soul when you feel like your world is crashing down like tidal waves. Let love lift you. Let love make you fly, especially when everything else is weighing you down.